IFW, the international voice of freight and logistics.
Thanks for tuning into IFW Radio, the international voice of freight. My name's Kizzy Nkwacha, and this week our own Indiana Jones, our intrepid chief reporter Damien Brett, has braved the jungles and mosquitoes and mountains of Peru to make it all the way back to IFW Towers to bring you our weekly news roundup. In fact, he's still wearing his poncho and a rather strange handlebar moustache that looks a little bit odd right now. Anyway, enough of that, but before then, we're on the lookout for logistic legends. IFW wants to pay homage to the most knowledgeable people working in freight and logistics. You know that means you. Every week we're going to be doffing our caps to these legends by way of an honourable mention in IFW. This is both in the bulletin and on the website. Now, for a chance to have your name and possibly that of your company as well awarded an honourable mention, simply answer these three incredibly easy questions. Have we got a clock sound effect? Just something? Yep, that'll do. Okay, great, thanks. Okay, question 1. OOCL is one of the largest integrated international container transportation, logistics and terminal companies. Now, we all know that, but what do the initials OOCL stand for? While you're pondering on that, question number 2. Emirates' 147 strong fleet is reputed to be one of the youngest in the skies. Emirates Sky Cargo's fleet includes 7 freighters and now serves, at last count, 102 destinations in 62 countries on 6 continents. Yeah, get on with the questions, you're wondering. Okay, well, the question is, in 2004, Emirates announced a £100 million sponsorship deal with a British Premier League football team. Which team was that? And finally, even I know the answer to this one. Who is the chairman of the UK-based Rail Freight Group? Who is the chairman of the UK-based Rail Freight Group? I know the answer to this because I met him a few weeks ago and he's a thoroughly decent bloke. The chairman of the UK-based Rail Freight Group. If you think you've got a clue, this is what you do. Drop me a line at ifwpromotions@informa.com. Competition closes on Friday, the 9th of October. Just a quick recap. What do the initials OOCL stand for? Question number 2. Which Premier League team signed a 100 million sponsorship deal with Emirates in 2004? And finally, who is the chairman of the UK-based Rail Freight Group? Answers to ifwpromotions@informa.com.
I'm a fool, but I know, don't keep telling me so. I'll go running for more, instead of closing the door. I'm still caught in his net, want to break free. What's holding me there is the hope that he cares. Was it all my own fault? Could it be I'm to blame? I knew I was playing with fire, should have been careful of the flame. What does he think of me? face being alone. Lonely's like a tasteless wine, a love song with a missing line. I'm a fool, but I know. Don't keep telling me so. But I'm hooked on his line. Why can't it be on?
Now, doesn't that make you feel warm all over? I'm a Fool, taken from the theatre production Stuff of Dreams and penned by a one Mr. David Badger, a man of many, many talents. Now, talking about a man of many talents, it's time for the news headlines. Over to you, Damien.
Hello there, and Kizzy, thanks for another fantastic introduction, entertaining as always. Now, regular listeners might have noticed that I haven't been here for the last couple of weeks, and Dave Badger's been taking care of the news for me. I was on holiday. Coming back into the office, it's been a bit of a hectic week, catching up with emails and finding out what's been going on while I've been away. But even though I've had a bit of a hectic time, I think the US Department of Justice has been much busier than me. And on Friday, they featured in IFW's news bulletin once again. On Friday, the DOJ revealed that 6 international forwarders had agreed to plead guilty to price fixing and pay criminal fines of just over $50 million. And I think that was probably the biggest story we ran over the last 7 days. The forwarders that agreed to pay the fines were Bax Global, which paid 19.7 million, or will pay 19.7 million, Panalpina, which will pay a fine of 12 million, Kuehne Nagel 9.8 million, EGL 4.5 million, Schenker 3.5 million, and Geologistics $687,960,000. The DOJ said at different times between 2002 and 2007, the 6 forwarders, plus others still under investigation, had coordinated the imposition of various surcharges on routes into the US from the UK, Hong Kong and China. Panalpina said the plea agreement released the company from further prosecution and that the infringements did not affect the prices paid by its customers. The European Commission is also investigating forwarders for price fixing, and antitrust investigations in New Zealand, launched against Kuehne Nagel, Panalpina, DB Schenker and Bax Global, are currently in the process of settlement negotiations. The DOJ also this week announced that China Airlines had agreed to plead guilty and pay a $40 million criminal fine to the US government for its part in the air cargo price fixing scandal that has been labelled the world's biggest criminal conspiracy. And this follows news from 2 weeks ago that SAS Cargo had been hit with a $13 million fine from the DOJ. It feels like a lot of subjects that we've covered over the last 7 days are ongoing stories, and another story to emerge this week that's bound to crop up again and again is the ongoing dispute surrounding US proposals to outlaw shipping line conferences and rate discussion groups on the US trade, a move Brussels made for Europe in 2008. Over the last 7 days, we've seen battle lines drawn as shippers and forwarders pledge their support for the move, while shipping lines warn against it. The 29 members of the World Shipping Council have warned the US government to think very carefully before it makes a decision, while the European Shippers Council, Freight Transport Association, the Asian Shippers Council all welcomed the move as an end to cartel behaviour, and a group of more than 30 shipper, forwarders and 3PLs signed a letter to the US House Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure pledging their cooperation and support for the move. The ongoing saga surrounding troubled Sea France also reared its head again this week when its owner SNCF appointed a subsidiary of a French bank to pilot the sale of its ailing cross-channel ferry operator. SNCF even went as far as placing an advert in a French business newspaper inviting bids for its subsidiary. And in other news, analysts say shipping lines are going to remove swathes of vessel capacity ready for week-long Chinese holidays and to head off declining rates, which on the Asia-Europe trade are at the lowest they have been this year. YRC worldwide staff are considering a restructuring plan put forward by management. European ports have been hit by strikes as workers from all sectors protest government austerity measures to combat debts. And US cargo airline Evergreen International is facing a $5 million fine for allegedly using pilots that had not been trained properly. And finally, earlier this month, Air Charter Service Hong Kong had a whale of a time as it flew 8 beluga whales from Vladivostok, Russia to Guangzhou, China. The marine mammals, which can grow up to 5 metres long, were being flown to a new zoo due to open in early 2011. There were 5 female and 3 male white whales naturally found in Arctic regions only. Right, that's enough from me this week. But make sure you sign up to our free daily news bulletin at ifw-net.com if you haven't already, and you'll also be able to find all our contact details on the website in case you'd like to get in touch with us.